So, I guess as you've kind of assumed, I've decided to keep doing the vlogs through the year. It's a little hard to come up with topics sometimes, so if you have an idea that you'd like me to talk about, please drop it in the comments, send me a message, however, put a post on the blog page, that works. But today's topic, I was going to go on a little bit of a Facebook rant on my own page, on my personal profile. And then I realized I probably haven't done a blog this week and it's going to be the best day to do it, so here we are. Today I want to talk about the way we talk about ourselves. The reason for this is because I don't know why it started to bother me recently, it just kind of has, and I've noticed it a lot more, but a lot of my friends, primarily female but sometimes guys, have been kind of tearing themselves down. They'll do things like they'll share a post that says, share if you're ugly. Or they'll share something where it says cute girl and they'll be like, that's me except I'm not cute. Or things like that. Just like, oh, I didn't feel great today, or I don't look great today, or I'm just not that smart, I'm just not that funny. And I've always seen it, and I'm not going to lie, I've done it before. But I don't know, it's just started to bother me recently, and I'm really not a fan of this anymore. I don't think I ever was, but it started to bother me a lot more. And I think part of it is we're not all in high school anymore, we're all adults, and a lot of my friends now have kids. And I've read these posts before, and I've kind of thought about it before, and my cat made a mess on the bed, but we're going to roll with it. Kids are always watching us, guys. And I didn't really think about too much how much that would impact a child until fairly recently I've started to think about it more. When I was little, I remember kind of part of the cultural thing is we say things like, que fea niña, which is what an ugly little girl, and a lot of the times it wasn't meant that way. It was just like a little term of endearment. At the same time, I remember hearing people talk about, oh, so-and-so gained weight, or so-and-so has gotten fat. And I remember being really nervous about that. And I remember in school they told us about be careful what you eat and how you exercise because the freshman 15, which was supposed to be the first 15 pounds that you gained while you were in college. And I remember when I graduated, I didn't gain 15 pounds, and I was really proud of myself. Well, not in the first year, but I did eventually, and it bothered me. Even now, I was in bed the other day with my husband, and I was showing him pictures of when I was, 5 years ago maybe? Well, and I want to say I was in college 5 years ago. Yeah, I was in college 5 years ago. 5 years ago when I was in college, I was a lot thinner. And it was like, look how much weight I've gained. Look how different I am now. And it wasn't in a good way. And now that's bothering me. Marble. She likes to butter harness. I will go get you. She's got to have a stare down with the cat, and she's going to do it again. I can feel it. Yeah, I'm waiting for the cat to bite the harness. Anyway. We keep doing things to ourselves. We keep talking down to ourselves, whether we're not this, we're not that. I do it too. I talk about how much weight I've gained, how it's frustrating to buy clothes, how I'm not as smart as, I'm not as funny as, and I feel like I'm constantly seeking validation. And I feel like I'm constantly telling my friends, stop saying that about yourself. You're beautiful. Or stop saying that. You're very smart. Or stop doing that. You are what you think you're not. While I do it myself. And it's very frustrating. And it's very upsetting to think about my friends doing that to themselves because they're great. I love all of my friends. They're all very smart and talented and attractive people, but they keep saying things like, I'm not, I'm this, I'm that, and they're all negatives. And I think it has to do with the way that people used to talk to us or talk about other people in front of us when we were younger. We just assume that this is normal. I know that my mom never really talked down to her about herself, but I do remember small comments about whether or not I'd still fit into something, kind of how much weight people had gained, or, oh, I noticed that she was a little rounder. And it made me start thinking about myself, like, oh, well, I've gained weight, or I am a little rounder, or this or that, and it's not helping me think about myself in a positive way. And it, like I said, I used to do it, I still kind of do it a little bit, but I decided that I need to stop, and that I'm going to try to be more positive about myself. So all the times that we say, don't brag, nobody likes somebody who brags, or don't be overconfident, don't be this, don't be that, and there's so many don'ts for women that I realize it's probably really hard to try to be more positive about yourself and not have people try to tear you down. Think about it. Guys are constantly, especially with sports, taking him and parading him around. Look how great my son is. Look how all of these amazing accomplishments that he does. Yes, that has different sort of effects, but they feel very confident with themselves. They feel very happy with who they are. And yeah, that has its own issues that are all sorts of different things, but that's not what I'm talking about right now. And women, we have a tendency to talk about, look how pretty my daughter is. Look how thin my daughter is. And there are different sort of accomplishments that can change. I was very, very thin. I was probably 85 pounds when I was in junior high and about 100 pounds, maybe? 110 maybe when I was in high school. And so I was really thin. As I've gotten older, I'm about a solid 140. And some of that is just natural, like women grow in various places, we gain weight in different ways, we carry fat differently. Some of it is just because I really like pasta, and therefore I eat it a lot. But the way we talk about it is we don't always talk about those good things that don't change. So how smart they are, how talented they are, different kinds of accomplishments. And we're asked not to brag. There's even cultural things that when you serve, like if you're serving food, your favorite dish that you're more proud of, you're supposed to talk bad about it. Like, oh, it's not that good. And then you serve it so that everybody else gives you praise. And you're not supposed to praise yourself. Like, look, this is the dish that I'm most proud of. You're supposed to talk down about it. And we do that for a lot of things. We're supposed to say, oh, well, I'm not that pretty, so that everybody else will tell you, and therefore you're not conceited. Because if you walk in there saying, yeah, I'm gorgeous, I'm beautiful, I look great in this outfit, everybody's first instinct is, wow, she's really conceited. And it's starting to change, slowly. We're starting to change the way we talk about people, we talk about women, especially with the whole feminism movement. We're changing the way that we talk about women in general, and some of that's gone away. But it's still there, that fear that if I go out and say, yeah, I look great today, or don't I look beautiful, people are going to consider me conceited. Or if I go out and say, yeah, I'm smarter than that guy, or yeah, I'm just as smart as, or I'm the smartest one in the room, people are going to say, I'm stuck up. Or I'm being too prideful. But here's the thing. I'd like to think that I am beautiful. I work really hard on the things that I wear to complement my body type. I work really hard on my makeup because I want it to say something about me. So why should I feel bad about thinking that I'm beautiful? I worked really hard to get my college degree. I went all through grade school and was an A+ student. I went to college and I graduated with a bachelor's degree, which is the same that my husband has. He's got a bachelor's degree as well. Why shouldn't I feel like I'm as smart as him? Granted, we're in different subjects. He was in the sciences and I was in the communications arts. But why shouldn't I be just as proud? I put in the same amount of work. I went to school every day. I turned in papers. I did research. I went to class, did homework, and I earned my degree. But when I say it, it can carry different kinds of stigmatisms. It's just because I'm a woman. And it affects us in a lot of different ways. It affects us in jobs. A lot of the times it's the go-getters. My husband's confident enough to go and say, hey, what do I have to do to get promoted? What do I have to do to get a raise? And it feels so uncomfortable for me to even think about going to my current job after a year of being there and being like, hey, what do I have to do to get a raise around here? What do I have to do to get a promotion around here? It feels so uncomfortable to ask for that. And yes, right now I haven't been there a year, so I probably won't think about it. If I had been there a year, it's still hard to think about it and ask that. When I was at a place for a year, my husband had to give me a pep talk to go and talk to my manager about growth opportunity. Not even demanding anything, just what are my options? What does continuing look like? And it's hard. And it's something that we have to change, and it's going to start one person at a time. Because all of my friends in my generation are starting their families, their lives. Some people are still looking for that right person to do this with. Some people are thinking about getting their jobs so that they can have kids. Some people, like me, who are married are thinking about when we will have our own kids. Or other people who've been married a while who've started their families already and have kids. We're at that point that we need to change sooner rather than later, because that's going to change how our kids see themselves. If we stop judging ourselves so harshly when we look in the mirror, or being so unkind to ourselves, or being too modest, our kids are going to feel the need to do the same thing. And a lot of the times, daughters look up to their mothers. And when we're standing there in the mirror saying that we're fat, that we're ugly, that, oh, look how much weight I've gained, look how much of this I've done, look at all of these imperfections about myself, they're going to look at their own selves and do the same thing. When we tear ourselves down in public, oh yeah, no, he's the smart one, they're going to feel the need to do the same thing. So we need to start changing those habits. We need to start looking in the mirror and saying, I look great today. We need to start saying more positive things about ourselves. Yes, I'm smart. Yes, I'm talented. I'm quick thinking. And build ourselves up. And maybe one day we won't have this problem anymore. And somebody will see this video and say, that doesn't happen anymore. And it'll be a good thing. Because we're just as valid, we're just as amazing as all of the people who have more confidence to say it are. We shouldn't feel the need to say that somebody else is more, because everybody can be more in other ways, but you are more in your own ways. I can get it together by the time that we get around to having kids, because I don't want my kids, like, when they get to my age and they start to gain the weight that goes with having breasts, having a butt, having a shape that women have, when they have kids and their body doesn't spring back to normal, when they get to these points in their lives where their body's going to change a lot, they don't feel like their worth is any different. They don't feel like because they've gained this weight, because their body's changed, because they're less beautiful. And I want my sons to know that it's valid for whatever they choose to do, that yeah, they can work really hard to have this specific body type that everybody says is what should be expected, but they can also have whatever body type they want. And I know I've gone on a little bit of a rant about this before, about how the things that we impose on women, like, oh, the dad bod is okay, but the woman's bod is not. This is a little bit different, because if we're doing it to ourselves, it's never going to change, because we're the ones that are talking to ourselves first. You're the first person you have to face in the morning when you look in the mirror. You look at yourself and you say, hey, I'm ugly. And then you walk through your entire day and that's how you feel. But if you woke up and you looked in the mirror and said, I look beautiful today. Or, yeah, you might wake up and if you're like me, sometimes my hair sticks up in all the weird places and I have like a drool streak running down my face. Find that one thing that you look in the mirror and you're like, that looks good this morning. Whether that be your eyes, your face structure, your hair is just not as bad this morning. Start with the positive. And that might change a lot of things. And it might slowly become habit to be able to say, yeah, I'm beautiful, I know. Or yeah, I'm smart, I'm great, and I'm so many positive things instead of all of the negative things that we're saying. And maybe our kids will do it too. And we don't have to worry about them feeling bad. Maybe we won't have to worry about them being so down and hard on themselves, because we're all sorts of beautiful, and that's what gets us into a better place. So when you want to start that diet, do it because you want to be healthier, because you want to have more energy, not because you feel like you're ugly, not because you feel like you're too heavy, you're too light, you're too unstructured, whatever thing that you think negative about yourself. Try to make it more positive. Make it, you know what? I want to eat more salad because it makes me feel good. I want to do more exercise so I can keep up. I want to be a better me in ways that are going to be positive changes, but not because I'm terrible where I'm starting. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully this hits all the right notes and gets to the people who need it the most, because let's face it, I feel like the people who say it the most are some of the most beautiful people I've ever met. One of my friends who I know does it is a mother of 2 beautiful children, and she works, and it hurts to see her say that. Some people who say it are a friend of mine who is working on her graduate level degree, and she is an amazing and beautiful person, and I don't get why she says that about herself. Some people are just people who think that this is the way that they need to talk about themselves because it's what they've heard. But they shouldn't, because they're not. Because they're beautiful and intelligent and talented in all the same ways as everybody else is. And maybe they'll finally see it. Thanks for watching.